fruit and nougat, custard, peacock cakes, braised beef. The silver of dawn is already gleaming on the copper pots. Silence the God who sings within you. Oregano. The hour of the lute will come. It is now the hour of the oven. There's something lacking in this sauce. What should I do to it? Make it more lyrical. What's tarts? Pies! Away, my muse, lest your eyes be reddened by this mundane fire. Ah, the slit in these loaves is badly placed. The cassura should be in the middle between the hemistiches. Ah, this palace of crust must have a roof. Alternate the humble chickens with the stately turkeys on your spit, my son, as Malherbe alternated long and short lines in his verse, and then turned stanzas of poultry above the fire. I've baked this in your honor, sir. I hope it will please you. A lyre, made of pastry dough, with candied fruit. And I made the strings of sugar. Here, go and drink to my health. My wife, quickly go about your business and hide that money. Isn't it beautiful? It's ridiculous. You brought some paper bags. Good, thank you. Oh no, my treasured books, my friends, poetry, desecrated, dismembered to make bags for pastry. You are as heartless as the Bacchant who tore Oedipus, Orpheus to pieces. I have the right to make use of what your wretched scribblers leave here as their only payment. Don't insult those divine songbirds, you vulture. You never called me such names before that rabble began coming here. How can you treat poetry with such disrespect? I'll treat poetry however I please. I shudder to think of what you might do with prose. What will you have, children? 3 small pies, please. 3 small pies, hot and brown. Would you please wrap them? Alas, one of my bags. Very well. Like Ulysses parting from Penelope. No, not this one. Phoebus of the golden hair. Not this one. Well, what are you waiting for? Nothing, nothing. The sonnet to Phyllis. What a loss. I'm glad you finally made up your mind, you poor simpleton. Psst, children. Give me back the sonnet to Phyllis, and I'll give you 6 pies instead of 3. Phyllis, a spot of butter on that lovely name. Phyllis. What time is it? 6 o'clock. 1 more hour. Congratulations. For what? I saw your duel. Which one? At the Hotel Bourgogne. Oh, that one. A duel in verse. He talks about nothing else. I'm glad to hear it. When I end the refrain, I draw blood. When I end the refrain, I draw blood. Magnificent. When I end the refrain. What time is it, Ragueneau? 6:05. I draw blood. Ah, what a ballad. Your hand is wounded. It's nothing, just a small gash. Have you been doing something dangerous? No, I've been in no danger. I believe you're telling a lie. Why? Was my nose twitching? If so, it must have been an enormous lie. I'm waiting for someone here. If I don't want in vain, if I don't wait in vain, I want you to leave us alone together. I can't do that. My poets will soon be here for their first meal. You will take them away when I give you a signal. What time is it? 6:10. May I have a pen? Here, take my swan's feather. Greetings! Who's that? A friend of my wife's, a mighty warrior. According to what he says, he... Never mind. Write a note, fold it, give it to her, run away. Coward, you don't have the courage to say one word to her. What time is it? 6:15. I'm afraid to speak a single one of all the words I even hear. But writing is a different matter. I'll now put down on paper the love letter that I've already written within myself 100 times. I have only to look into my soul and copy the words inscribed in it. Here come your mud-spattered poets. Colleague, dear colleague, eagle of pastry cooks, what a fragrantness you have. Oh, culinary god, Apollo of the kitchen. They always make me feel at ease as soon as they come in. We were delayed by a crowd gathered at the Porte de Nesle. 8 bandits have been felled by swordplay and lay bleeding on the pavement. 8? I thought there were only 7. You know the hero of the combat? No. And you? Perhaps. I love you. We were told that one man had a routed whole band of assassins. There were pikes and clubs strewn all over the ground. Your eyes. and hats were found as far away as the Quai de Orfevre. The man who could do a little thing like that, your lips, must have been some sort of ferocious giant, and I become faint with fear each time I see you. What have you been writing, Ragueneau? Your faithful worshipper. No need to sign it, since I'll give it to her myself. I've written a recipe in verse. Let's hear it. This brioche has put its hat on crooked. This gingerbread gazes at a hungry poet with its almond eyes and warm, inviting smile. We're listening. See how this cream puff drools with delight. First, for the first time, the lyre gives me sustenance. A recipe in verse. And are you having breakfast? Yes, and you're eating dinner. How to make almond tarts. Beat some eggs till they are foamy, mix some tangy citron juice, then fold in sweet milk of almonds, line your pans with pastry dough. Slowly pour your foam to fill them. Let them bake till golden brown. Now remove them from the oven, luscious, dainty almond tarts. Exquisite, delightful. Oomph. Haven't you ever noticed how they stuff themselves while they listen to your verse? Of course, but I never let them know it because I don't want to embarrass them. I take double pleasure in reciting my compositions like that. I satisfy my little weakness, and at the same time, I feed brother poets who would otherwise go hungry. You're a fine fellow, Ragueneau. Please, is that musketeer laying siege to you? If a man tries to attack my virtue, I stop him with a single withering look. Withering is hardly the word to describe the look you were giving your friend just now. But I like Ragueneau. That's why I won't allow anyone to make him play the ridiculous part of a deceived husband. But a word to the wise. Well, aren't you going to say anything? I'm surprised you haven't already thrown your answer against his nose. His nose? Oh, his nose. Psst. Come this way, gentlemen. We'll be much more comfortable. Psst, psst. For reading poetry. But what about the cakes? Let's take them with us. I'll give her my letter if I feel that there's the slightest hope. May I have a word with you? Have several if you like. Are you fond of pastry? I'm sinfully fond of it. Good, here are two sonnets by Monsieur Bonserrat. Oh, which I will fill with custard tarts for you. Ah! Do you like cream puffs? I hold them in high regard. There are 6 of them for you in a poem by Saint-Amand. And in this verse by Chapelain, a piece of butter cake. You really like pastry, do you? I adore it. And I'm sure you'll enjoy going out and eating all this in the street. And please don't come back until you've finished. May this day be blessed above all others, the day when you ceased to forget my existence, and came here to tell me. First, let me thank you for humbling that arrogant fop with your sword yesterday, because he's the man whom a certain great lord infatuated with me. De Guiche was trying to impose on me as a husband. A husband only for the sake of form. I am happy to know that I fought not for my ugly nose, but for your beautiful eyes. And then I wanted to tell you, but before I make my confession, give me time to see you again as I did in the past, when I thought of you almost as my brother. We used to play together in the park beside the lake. Yes, you came to Bergerac every summer. You used a reed for a sword in those days, and used corn silk to make hair for your dolls. We played all sorts of games, and ate blackberries before they were ripe. You always did whatever I wanted. You weren't yet known as Roxanne. In short skirts, you were still called Magdalene. Was I pretty then? You weren't ugly. Sometimes you came to me with your hand bleeding from some accident, and I acted as if I were your mother, trying to make my voice stern. What's this? I'd say. Have you hurt yourself again? Oh, even now you've done it again. Now let me see. You're still hurting yourself at your age. How did you do it this time? I was playing again. At the Porte de Nesle. Give me that hand. You still mother me. While I wash away this blood, I want you to describe what happened. How many were there against you? Oh, not quite 100. Tell me about it. No, never mind. Tell me what you couldn't bring yourself to say just now. Yes, I can say it now that the past has returned to encourage me. Here it is. I'm in love with someone. Ah! Someone who doesn't know. Ah! Not yet. Ah! But he will know soon. Ah! He's a poor man who till now has loved me timidly from a distance without daring to say anything. Ah! Let me keep your hand. It feels feverish. But I've seen a confession of love trembling on his lips. Ah! And it so happens, cousin, that he's a member of your regiment. Ah! In fact, he's a cadet in your company. Ah! His face shines with wit and intelligence. He's proud, noble, young, fearless, handsome. Handsome? What is it? What's the matter? Nothing. It's only a twinge of pain from this little scratch. Well, I love him even though I've never seen him anywhere but in the theater. You've never spoken to each other. Only with our eyes. Then how do you know he loves you? Under the linden trees of the Place Royale, people gossip. Talkative acquaintances have told me. You'd say he's a cadet. Yes, in the guards. His name? Ben Christian de Novelet. Novelet. There's no cadet by that name. There is now. He began serving only this morning under Captain Cabin de Castelgelou. You lost your heart so quickly, but my poor girl. I've eaten all the pastry, Monsieur de Bergerac. Then read the poetry on the backs. My poor girl, you're so fond of fine words and gracious wit. What if he should prove to be an uncultured savage? Impossible. He is the pair of one of Durf's heroes. His speech may be as crude as his hair is elegant. No, there's delicacy in everything he says. I feel it. Yes, all words are delicate when they come from his lips, adorned with a shapely mustache, but what if he's a fool? Then I'll die. There, are you satisfied? You brought me here to tell me this. I confess I don't quite understand why. It's because someone terrified me yesterday by telling me the most of you and your company are Gascon, and that we always provoke a duel with any newcomer who gains the favor of being admitted amongst us without being a Gascon. Is that what you were told? Yes, you can imagine how I trembled for him when I heard it. And with good reason. But when I saw you yesterday, great and invincible, punishing with that scoundrel and holding all those brutes at bay, I said to myself, everyone fears him. If he were willing to, very well, I'll protect your little baron. Oh, I knew you would. I've always had such tender affection for you. Yes, yes. You'll be his friend. I will. And he'll never have a duel. No, I promise. I knew I was right to like you so much, and now I must go. But you haven't told me about your battle last night. It must have been incredible. Tell him to write to me. Oh, I love you. Yes, yes. 100 men against you. Well, goodbye. You're my best friend. Yes, yes. Tell him to write. 100 men. You'll tell me about it some other time. I can't stay now. 100 men. What courage. Oh, I've done better since then. May we come in? Yes. Here he is. Captain, our hero. We know all about it. 30 of my cadets are here. But come, they want to see you. No, they're drinking in the tavern across the street, the Droa. Quadudroa. I Our hero won't come. He's in a bad mood. Sendius. Here they come. Tu, Captor Dios. Morius. Pocap Dios. Gentlemen, your language tells me that you're all from Gascony. Yes, all of us. Bravo, Baron. Hurrah, Baron. Let me embrace you. Baron. Let's all embrace him. Baron, please. Are you all barons, gentlemen? All? Yes. We could build a tower with our baronial cornets. Everyone wants to see you. There's a wild crowd led by those who were with you last night. You didn't tell them I was here, did you? Of course I did. Sir, all the fashionable people in Paris are coming here. Have you seen Roxanne? Quiet. Cyrano. They're invading my shop. They're breaking everything. It's magnificent. My friend. My friend. I didn't have so many friends yesterday. What a triumph. If you only knew, my dear Cyrano. Your dear Cyrano, how could I have endeared myself to you when I've never seen you before? Sir, I'd like to introduce you to some ladies who are outside in my carriage. And who will introduce me to you? What's the matter with you? Quiet. Would you give me a few details of... No. That's Theophrast Renaudot. Or what of it? He's the inventor of the Gazette. the printed sheet which tells us so many things. They say it's an idea with a great future. Sir, another one. I want to compose a penacrostic on your name. Sir, enough! Monsieur de Guiche has come with a message from Marshal de Castillon. The Marshal has just learned of your latest exploit and wishes me to express his admiration to you. Bravo! The Marshal is an authority on daring deeds. He would never have believed it if these gentlemen hadn't sworn to have seen it with their own eyes. Aren't you going to... Quiet! You seem to be suffering in front of all these people. I suffering? You'll see. Your career is already rich in noble exploits. You serve with those wild Gascons, don't you? Yes, I'm a cadet in the guards. Here's one of us. Ah, then all these haughty-looking gentlemen are the famous Cyrano. Yes, Captain. Since all the men of my company are here, please introduce them to the Count. These are the stout-hearted Gascon cadets of Carbon de Castelgelou. They fight over trifles and shamelessly lie. These are the stout-hearted Gascon cadets. Their knowledge of heraldry can't be surpassed. No plowman can claim nobler birth. These are the stout-hearted Gascon cadets of Carbon de Castelgelou. Keen-eyed as eagles and fiercer than wolves, with the elegant grace of a cat. They sweep all before them wherever they go, keen-eyed as eagles and fiercer than wolves, wearing their battered old hats jauntily, with feathers to cover the holes. Keen-eyed as eagles and fiercer than wolves, with the elegant grace of a cat. Skull breaker, cutthroat, gun sticker, and slash are the most peaceful nicknames they bear. A passion for glory obsesses them all. Skull breaker, cutthroat, gun sticker, and slash. Wherever there's brawling, you'll find them on hand, each doing his share and much more. Skullbreaker, cutthroat, cut sticker, and slash are the most peaceful nicknames they bear. These are the stout-hearted Gascon cadets who cuckold young husbands and old. Adorable ladies, your virtue is doomed. These are the stout-hearted Gascon cadets. Your jealous defenders may grumble and scowl. They are powerless to alter their fate. These are the stout-hearted Gascon cadets who cuckold young husbands and old. Poets are a fashionable luxury these days. Would you like to become one of my followers? No, sir, I prefer to follow no one. My uncle Cardinal Richelieu was amused by your dashing combat yesterday. I'm willing to help you with him, if you like. My God! You've written a play, I believe. Your Agrippine will soon be performed, my friend. Take it to him. Really, He knows a great deal about the theater. He'll rewrite a few lines. Impossible, sir. My blood curdles at the thought of having a single comma changed. But when a piece of writing pleases him, he pays very well for it. He couldn't pay as well as I do. When I write something that I like, I reward the author by reciting it to myself. You're a proud man. Have you noticed that? Look, Cyrano, at the strange feathered game we took in the street this morning, the men you routed seemed to have run away too fast for their hats to follow them. Spoils of war. The man who hired those cowardly brutes must be in a rage today. Do you know who did it? I did. I hired them for a task that one doesn't do oneself. Punishing a drunken rhymester. What shall we do with these? They're greasy. Shall we make them into a stew? So, would you like to take these back to your friends? Bring my sedan chair immediately. I'm leaving. You, sir. Porters, bring Monsieur de Guiche's chair. Have you read Don Quixote? Yes, I have, and I take off my hat to you in the name of that scatterbrained hero. You would do well to meditate. The sedan chairs here, on the chapter concerning windmills. Chapter 13. Because when one attacks them, do you mean to say that I attack people who veer with every change of wind? When one attacks them, their great arms often hurl one down into the mud, or up into the stars. Gentlemen, this time you've outdone yourself. Must I listen to your complaining again? You shatter every opportunity that comes your way. You'll have to admit that you go too far. Yes, I go too far. You do admit it. But for the sake of principle and to set an example too, I feel that it's good to go too far in that direction. If you would only soften your haughty spirit, a little fortune and glory but what would I have to do? Cover myself with the protection of some powerful patron, imitate the ivy that licks the bark of a tall tree while entwining itself around its trunk, and make my way upward by guile, rather than climbing by my own strength. No, thank you. Dedicate poems to financiers, or as so many others do. Change myself into a buffoon in the hope of seeing a minister give me a condescending smile. No, thank you. Swallow insults every day? Till the skin of my belly is rubbed raw? Dirty my knees and make my spine as limber as nails? No, thank you. Develop the art of sitting on both sides of a fence at once. Pay for an ounce of favor with a ton of flattery. No, thank you. Use women as stepping stones? Make headway in the sea of life with madrigals for oars and the sighs of old ladies for the wind in my sails? No, thank you. Have poetry published at my own expense? No, thank you. Attend councils held in taverns by imbeciles, trying to win the honor of being chosen as their pope? No, thank you. Work to make a name for myself with one sonnet instead of writing others? No, thank you. See talent only in the nonentities, be terrified of the gazettes, and constantly be thinking, oh, if only the Marqueur of Francois will say a kind word about me. No, thank you. Be always scheming and afraid of schemes, like paying visits better than writing poetry. Make humble requests, seek introductions to useful people. No, thank you. No, no. I prefer to lead a different kind of life. I sing, dream, laugh, and go where I please, alone and free. My eyes see clearly, and my voice is strong. I'm quarrelsome or benign, and it suits my pleasure. Always ready to fight a duel or write a poem at the drop of a hat. I dream of flying to the moon, but give no thought to fame or fortune. I write only that comes out of myself, and I make it my modest rule to be satisfied with whatever flowers, fruit, or even leaves I gather, as long as they're from my own garden. And if I should happen to gain some small success, I'm not obliged to render any of it unto Caesar. In short, I scorn to be like parasitic ivy, even though I'm not an oak. I may not rise very high, but I'll climb alone. Be alone if you like. But why have everyone against you? How the devil did you acquire that appalling mania for making enemies wherever you go? I acquired it by watching others make multitudes of friends and laugh at them behind their backs. I like to exchange a few greetings as possible when I go out, and I'm always glad to add another enemy to my list. Sheer perversity. Let's call it my vice. Pleases me to displease. I love to be hated. If you only knew, if you only knew how stimulating it is to be under the murderous fire of hostile eyes, and how amusing it is to watch faces turn venomous with envy or sweaty with fear. The soft friendship that surrounds others is like one of those loose floating Italian collars that leave your neck free to bend in all directions. You're more comfortable, but your head is less erect. But the hatred that presses in upon me is like a starched Spanish ruff with whose stiffness forces me to hold my head high. Each new enemy is a pleat that constrains me still more, yet adds to my splendor because hatred is both a yoke and a halo of glory. Proclaim your pride and bitterness loudly to the world, but to me speak softly and tell me simply that she doesn't love you. Stop! Enough! Cyrano, will you tell us your story now? Not now. A little later. The story of Cyrano's combat will be the best lesson for this timid apprentice. Apprentice? Yes, you sickly northerner. Sickly? Monsieur de Neuvillette, it's time for you to learn something. There's a certain object that we all avoid naming as scrupulously as we would refrain from mentioning rope in the house of a man whose father had been hanged. What is it? Look at me. Do you understand? I think so. You must mean. Shh. You must never speak that word. If you do, you'll have him to deal with. He's already killed two men because they had nasal voices. The slightest allusion to that protuberance brings an untimely death. One word is enough, even a gesture. If you take out your handkerchief, you've taken out your shroud. Captain, yes? What should one do when southerners become too boastful? Prove to them that a northerner can be courageous. Thank you. Now tell us your story. Your story! My story. Well, I was walking alone to meet them. The moon was gleaming like a big silver watch in the sky when suddenly some heavenly hand slipped it into a pocket of clouds. The sky was black as pitch, and there were no lights in the street. I couldn't see beyond the end of your nose. Who is this man? He came to us only this morning. This morning? His name is Baron de Neuville. Oh, I. Very well. As I was saying, Mortius. It was so dark that I couldn't see anything. I walked on, thinking that for the sake of a poor drunkard, I was about to anger some powerful nobleman who would surely resent your nosiness. Who would surely bear a grudge against me, and that I was rashly putting your nose into? Myself into a bad situation because that nobleman might look down his nose at you, be able to make things a bit difficult for me. But I said to myself, come, Gascon, do what has to be done. Onward, Cyrano. A moment later, someone nosed you out in the darkness, lunged at me with his sword. I parried the thrust and suddenly found myself nose to nose. No, by all the saints in heaven, I found myself facing 100 shouting brutes, all smelling, with their noses, of course, of onions and cheap wine. I plunged into the midst of them, nose first, and immediately cut down two of them. As I was attacking a third, I saw a sword right under your nose. Out! All of you, get out! The tiger has finally awakened. Leave me alone with this man. He'll soon be turned into mincemeat. Mincemeat? Yes, ready to be baked in one of your pie crusts. I feel faint and limp as a napkin. Let's go. There won't be anything left of him. Makes me tremble just to think of what's going to happen to him. It would be something horrifying. Embrace me, sir. You're a brave man. Perhaps, but very brave. I'm glad to know that. Would you mind telling me? Embrace me, I'm her brother. Whose brother? Hers. Hers? Roxanne's? Roxanne's. Oh, you, her brother? Yes, or almost, a brotherly cousin. And she's told you everything. Does she love me? Perhaps. How happy I am to know you. That's a rather sudden change of feeling. Forgive me. It's true, you are a handsome devil. If only, if you only knew, sir, how much I admire you. But all those noses you gave me, I take them all back. Roxanne expects to receive a letter from you this evening. Oh, no. What? If I write to her, she'll never want to see me again. Why? Because I'm such a fool that I could die of shame. No, you're not, since you've said it yourself. Besides, you didn't attack me like a fool. Words come easily to anyone when he wants to pick a quarrel. I may have a certain quick soldierly wit, but with women I'm always at a loss for anything to say. Their eyes show interest when I pass by, but aren't their hearts also interested when you stop? No, it's all too clear to me that I'm one of those men who don't know how to speak of love. I have the feeling that if my features had been shaped more harmoniously, I would have been one of those men who do know how to speak of love. Ah, if only I could express myself gracefully. If only I had a handsome face. Roxanne is so elegant and refined, I'm sure to disillusion her. If I had such an interpreter to speak for my soul. I need eloquence, and I have none. I'll lend you mine. Lend me your conquering physical charm, and together we'll form a romantic hero. What do you mean? Do you feel capable of repeating what I tell you every day? Are you suggesting? Roxanne won't be disillusioned. Together we can win her heart. Will you let my soul pass from my leather jerkin and lodge beneath your embroidered doublet? But Cyrano, are you willing? You frighten me. Your only fear is that you'll chill her heart when you speak to her. But if she hears my words from your lips, she'll soon be aflame. Your eyes are shining. Will you do it? Would it please you so much? It would. It would amuse me. It's an experiment that would tempt any poet. Shall we complete each other? We'll walk together. You're in the light, I in the shadows. I'll make you eloquent, you'll make me handsome. But I must write her a letter without delay. I'll never be able to. Here's her letter. What? Lacks only the name and address. Aye. You can send it as it is. Don't worry. It's well written. Had you already? I always have a letter in my pocket written to some imaginary lady because I'm one of those men whose only sweethearts are dreams breathed into the bubble of a name. You can change my fantasy to reality. You can take my vows and pleas launched at random into the empty air. Give them all a single destination. You'll see that in this letter my feelings are all the better expressed for being insincere. Here, take it. Won't some things in it have to be changed, since you want it with no specific woman in mind? How can it fit Roxanne? It will fit her like a glove. But you can count on vanity to make her think it was written for her. Ah, my friend. Nothing. A deathly scene. Emma, I'm afraid to look. What? Ooh. Oh. Ah. I can't believe my eyes. Well, look at that. Our demon has become as gentle as a lamb. When he's struck on one nostril, he turns the other. He lets people talk about his nose now. At least, watch this. What's that long thing on your face? It reminds me of something, but I can't recall what it is. Let me help you by jarring your memory.